Hey guys, welcome back to Team Death Slinger. My name is Peter, and today we're going to look at a BT2 BlackWargreymon Deck Profile. That card's alt art is one of my favorites of all time. I've always wanted to make a deck with it, and I feel like with the new Black Hybrid package, it's actually kind of sort of playable. It's definitely still a casual deck, but it doesn't feel bad to play anymore, and it's fun at some lower power tables. So, without further ado, for our eggs, we're on 4 copies of the BT13 Dorimon. When attacking, if this Digimon has 4 or more Digivolution cards, draw 1. The really kind of funny thing about this card is it does not say once per turn, draw 1 card. And if you know what BT2 BlackWarGreymon does, that effect is also not once per turn. So we can possibly net way too many draws off of this egg, which is why we're running it. If you don't like it, there's plenty of other black eggs you could substitute with, but I really think this egg is kind of funny. 2 copies of the BT16 Dorimon. This evolves, or sorry, Dorumon. This evolves on Dorimon for 0, which is part of the reason why we're running it in this slot. Starter main, you can place a Kosuke underneath it to give it some protection, but we don't run Kosuke in this deck. More importantly than that, this has all turns this Digimon gains 1k DP, and that's really going to help our BlackWarGreymon to be able to swing over the opponent's Digimon and get some unsuspend triggers. Then we have 4 copies of the BT18 KoKabuterimon Your Turn. When this Digimon or any of your Tamers would Digivolve into a multicolored black or yellow Digimon card, reduce the Digivolution cost by 1. It has a blocker inheritable, and the really clutch thing about this is that we're going to use the 2-colored MetalGreymon in order to give our BlackWarGreymon a way to attack into the opponent's Digimon, and because that Digimon is 2 colors, if we have a KoKabuterimon on the board, we can reduce the Evo cost from 4 to 3 and make it just a regular level 5 to Evo into, which really helps. Then we have 1 copy of the promo Zubamon. You can on play place this as one of your other Digimon's bottom Digivolution cards, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, and then return the revealed cards in any order to top or bottom of the deck. So it's a 3 memory, fix the top 3 cards of your deck, and then if you have a Legends Arms trait card, you gain 2 memory. That won't come up hardly ever, but your turn, if you have a black or Legend Arms trait Digimon, this Digimon gains Raid. So since BlackWarGreymon is black, this can give him Raid if you pay 3 memory to tuck him under the BlackWarGreymon, and we have lots of ways to gain memory in this deck. So this is a nice one-of tech to make sure that our BlackWarGreymon can swing into opponents' stacks, even if we don't have the MetalGreymon in our stack. Then we have 4 copies of the BT16 Ukkomon. It's a black hybrid package. You know we have to run it. It sucks because this is starting to get up there in price. I think it's over 10 bucks now, but it finds you a Tamer, finds you a Digimon, and I feel like you really need to run it if you are playing a hybrid package. Moving on to our level 4s, we're on 2 copies of the BT12 Mercurymon. You can Evo it onto a Tamer for 2, or a Black level 3 for 2. On play when Digivolving until the end of your opponent's turn, one of your Digimon gains blocker. This is actually a really sweet effect. It's a good way to stop yourself from losing the game. This deck does need a little bit to start up. You need to get some Tamers down and start getting the stack rolling, so this is going to be a great way to offer yourself some protection and make sure that you don't burn out. Then we have 1 copy of the new BT18 Mercurymon on play when Digivolving until the end of your opponent's turn. This Digimon can't be returned to the hand or deck by their effects. The really cool thing about this is a way to get bounce protection on your BlackWarGreymon because we can very easily in this deck make it from a level 4 to a level 6 in 1 turn, and this is a good way to make sure that BlackWarGreymon doesn't get bounced, and the Beetlemon will actually be an excellent complement to this card to make sure that it can't be deleted by effects one way or the other, depending on what your opponent's playing. Obviously, one will be more useful than the other, but great card and great to use. It also gives you 2k DP on the opponent's turn, and we do have the blocker inheritables in this deck and ways to give blocker with the other Mercurymon, so that can also come up to make your BlackWarGreymon a huge blocker. Next, we have 2 copies of BT18 Sephirothmon on play and when Digivolving by placing 1 level 4 or lower hybrid trait card other than Sephirothmon from your hand or trash as this Digimon's bottom Digivolution card. You activate the on-play effect of the place card as an effect to this Digimon. This also has the 2k DP inheritable and Evos on Mercurymon for 1. Our main target for this effect is going to be the BT18 MetalKabuterimon because this will allow you to de-Digivolve 1 on one of your opponent's Digimon. So it's a great way to pay 1 mem, go on top of the Mercurymon, and then hit a de-Digivolve trigger. We have a lot of ways to de-Digivolve in our level 4 and level 5 base, which is actually going to make the BlackWarGreymon really excel at swinging over the opponent's Digimons and getting lots of damage in. We have 4 copies of the BT18 Beetlemon when Digivolving until the end of your opponent's turn. This Digimon can't be deleted by their effects. Really strong protection effect like we mentioned before. Also, this Evo's on MetalKabuterimon for 0 or JP for 2, otherwise it costs 3. With a KoKabuterimon, we can Evo into this for 2, which is important to remember. And when attacking, one of your Digimon or Tamers can Digivolve into a black or yellow Digimon with hybrid, with the Digivolution cost reduced by 1. That does open us up to some of the RhinoKabuterimon plays, or lets you get into the MetalKabuterimon for 0. The inheritable lets you play a Tamer out with an inherited when this card would leave the board, but the only Tamer that's going to apply to is Satsuki, which has Mind Link, so we can remove it anyways. Then for our last level 4 in the deck, we have 3 copies of MetalKabuterimon. He digivolves on top of Beetlemon for 1. The rest of the Evo conditions don't really matter because we hopefully should never ever be paying them. It has blocker on play when digivolving D-digivolve 1 on one of your opponent's Digimon, and it has a blocker inheritable. That D-digivolve effect is super clutch, super important, and it's going to help make sure that your opponent's stacks stay small and manageable. For our level 5s, 4 copies of the BT8 MetalGreymon. When digivolving, D-digivolve 1 on one of your opponent's Digimon, then delete one of your opponent's Digimon 3k DP or less. This has come up several times for me, where I have D-digivolved them 1 with the MetalKabuterimon here, and then D-digivolve them again with MetalGreymon, and then they've been a rookie with 3k DP, and I'm able to pop them. The inheritable also says, well, this Digimon has Dragonkin in its traits, it can attack your opponent's unsuspended Digimon, and BlackWarGreymon will have the Dragonkin trait, which is how we're going to be swinging into our opponent's stacks. For our other level 5, we're going to run the RhinoKabuterimon from BT18. You can warp into this on one of your Tamers by placing a Beetlemon and MetalKabuterimon from trash under a black Tamer for a cost of 3, ignoring the requirements, which is great for rebuilding a stack after you lose yours. It has collision, and when attack targets change, you get to unsuspend. And then when attacking, it has a minus 4k inheritable on the swing, so it's going to clear out chumps and make your opponent's Digimon smaller. For our level 6s, 4 copies of the BT2 BlackWarGreymon. This is the alt art that I was talking about. It's always been one of my favorites, and this card, unfortunately, is not very good. So I've never had a good way to play it, but now with all of this D-digivolve support, I feel like it's finally in a place where I am happy to be playing it. So while your opponent has a Digimon with 10k DP or more in play, you can reduce the cost to play this card from your hand by 6, so you can hard slam him for 7, which you probably are never doing. But when attacking, not once per turn, if you attack your opponent's Digimon with the highest DP, you unsuspend this Digimon. So this basically says, if you raid, unsuspend this Digimon. So we're going to be looking to use the MetalGreymon inheritable to swing this into the opponent's highest level Digimon, unsuspend each time we do it, draw a card off the Dorimon that we mentioned earlier, is not once per turn, and then unsuspend, swing again, and just swing over every Digimon they have on the board in order to completely wipe their board. Really, really, really strong. In certain applications, really strong. I just said this card is bad. This is not a strong card. The effect is strong, and we're going to try and abuse it. Then we have 2 copies of the ShadowSeraphimon Ace. It is a blocker on Evo, D-digivolve 3 on one of your opponent's Digimon, and then when attack targets change, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 5k for the turn. This is actually not bad to set up before you get into your BlackWarGreymon. We have lots of ways to block, to change targets, and that means we can dish out the minus 5k to make this BlackWarGreymon a little bit easier to get through your opponent's board, because he is only a 12k and we do not have any DP boosting inheritables besides that Dorimon. But we do have other ways to solve that problem. We also run 2 copies of the EX6 Durandamon. You can pay 3 cost and place this card as one of your Legend Arms or one of your level 6 Digimon's bottom Digivolution cards to delete one of your opponent's Digimon with as much or less DP as that Digimon, and it gives a piercing inheritable. So now, if we have the memory set up and BlackWarGreymon has stuck on board, we can pay 3 to essentially pop a 12k or lower and then give this man piercing. So then, in a perfect world, he's swinging into your opponent's Digimon with piercing, getting a check for each Digimon he kills, and you already killed something just by equipping this to your BlackWarGreymon. So really sweet tech card for this boss monster. For our search engine and Tamers, we're running 3 copies of the defense training, just the best way to find our pieces, and because we are still building a stack, the delay effect is really, really useful for us. For the Tamers that are going to kind of be the heart and soul of a black hybrid engine, we have 3 copies of the BT12 Tai Kamiya. Start of your main phase and on play, one of your Digimon with Agumon or Greymon in its name gets 1k DP and gains blocker until the end of your opponent's turn. And in your turn, when one of your Digimon digivolves into a Digimon with Greymon or Omnimon in its name, you can suspend this Tamer to gain a memory. That is such an incredibly efficient way for us to get memory and make our BlackWarGreymon big enough to swing over our opponent's bigger Digimon. We are only 12k. There are level 6s that we won't be able to swing over, or level 7s that could even be standing in our way. If all 3 of these hit board, you're looking at a 15k BlackWarGreymon, which is just strong. And let's not forget, Durandamon takes into account our DP value when we delete an opponent's Digimon. So if we have 3 of these Tai Kamiyas on board and they're all juicing this BlackWarGreymon, now we can pay 3 memory to pop a 15k or less, which is pretty dang strong if you ask me. We are running 4 copies of the BT14 Satsuki. Start of your main phase, if your opponent has a Digimon gain a memory, that's just an excellent effect to be stacking in excess. And then this also has Mind Link, so we can hybrid onto this and then end of our turn delink it to make sure that we don't lose any of our Tamers and our ability to gain memory each turn, which is why this is such a strong Tamer just generically in black hybrid decks. Lastly, we're going to round it out with 2 copies of the ST15 Tai Kamiya. It's going to be a memory setter, which is incredibly important in this deck. You want to get this man down as early as you can to enable yourself to start stacking up Tamers, get more memory, and start making these bigger, splashier plays. and then all turns when an attack target is switched. By suspending this Tamer, you can draw one, and one of your Digimon gets 2k DP until the end of the turn. That draw one trigger is going to help you find your pieces real well, and it's also going to let your blockers be big enough to actually, hopefully, stop your opponent's Digimon. Along with those D-Digivolve inheritable, or not inheritables, the D-Digivolve effects on Digivolve with the MetalKabuterimon and our MetalGreymon, it's kind of a really effective deterrent for stopping your opponent from getting early chip damage in. And because this is just when an attack target is switched, we can also use that to give BlackWarGreymon an additional plus 2k. We can make him a 17k Digimon and get an extra free draw on top of all the Dorimon draws that we are getting. So that is it for my BlackWarGreymon deck profile. I hope you guys enjoy it. I've been looking for a way to play this guy for forever, and I hope you guys enjoy it. I want to hear if you guys have any ways that you've thought of to make this card viable. I would love to hear it. I've been kind of workshopping it for a while, so let me know what you think in the comments down below. Let me know what you guys are doing if you have ever played this boss monster, and that's going to be it for this video. So thank you guys for watching. Have a great day. Thank you to our YouTube members for supporting this channel. It's people like Langlong and Big Z11 who make videos like this possible.